Great. Okay. So today we're going to start our second module, which is for IT01, Information Technology and IT Ethics. Okay. I really like the ethics part of this module because it makes you think. Okay. So today's just introduction. We're just going to go into hardware, software, and AI. Okay. Let's see, this is a lot of text. So we're going to learn how to use standard Office applications, just familiarize with the system because this is an introductory module, right? This is one of the first modules you'll ever come across for level 4. So just standard Office applications, uh, basic computer operations, basic IT related issues. Okay, and then the second part of the module is going to be ethical issues that you might face as an IT professional. Okay, whether you're a developer, whether you're IT support, IT consultant, all these things. Okay, ethics in the cyberspace, intellectual property, privacy, and security and reliability. Okay, and so on. Okay, so we're going to do that. So here are learning outcomes for this module. Okay, we have two learning outcomes. The first one is just to get used to computers, right? Understand applications of information technology, right? So this has four learning outcomes, okay? Two of which we're going to do today. The user's strengths and limitations of different hardware and software categories, okay? And applications of AI, okay? This is quite relevant these days. Okay, then we'll do one assessment criteria per module, per lesson, sorry, okay? And then in the second half of this module, we're going to do the ethics part, okay? And then we'll finish off with two assessment criterias for the last lesson, okay? Great, so hardware and software, okay? Just a refresher from uh, previous module and from level 3, in case you were here. Most computers nowadays, they follow the von Neumann architecture. Okay, von Neumann architecture is how the CPU of a computer is designed. Okay, and it's based on the stored program computer concept. Okay, stored program computer concept. What does that mean? Stored program computer concept is when the program instructions and program data are stored in the same memory. Okay, and before the von Neumann architecture, you had the Harvard architecture. Okay, in the Harvard architecture, you had two memories. Okay, you had one for program data, so things like numbers you need to calculate and all the strings and everything. Okay, all the data that you needed for the program, and then you had the instruction data, okay, the things that the program needs to do with the other data. Okay, so that was Harvard architecture, two separate memories for two different types of data. Okay, in von Neumann you have one memory unit storing both types. Okay, so yeah, okay, so that's von Neumann architecture. This is John von Neumann. He lived from 1903 to 1957. Okay. Now, the CPU, it's no longer just one, right? Even though you have one CPU, it doesn't behave like it's one CPU because of this thing called multi-threading. Okay. Multi-threading is when the CPU can split itself into different cores. Okay, that's why you have multi-core CPUs, and each of those cores can carry out separate instructions at the same time. So it behaves as if there's more than one CPU because it carries out more than one instruction at a time. Okay, so you have quad-core CPUs, you have octa-core CPUs. These are CPUs that can carry out 4 to 8 instructions at a time. Okay, so we're not going to go into too much detail, but you have the control unit. This is the one that decides what the next steps are. The arithmetic logic unit is the one that does the actual calculations. Then the registers, this is where all the short this is where the instructions are temporarily stored. Like, what are we doing next? Uh, what have we calculated so far? That's all in the registers. And in the memory unit is where the program data and instruction data is stored. And the memory unit is the component that communicates with the permanent storage. So when you turn on your computer, you run an application. That application is that software is moved from the permanent storage to the memory unit, and then it starts communicating with the CPU. Okay? So speaking of memory and storage, it comes in two forms. Okay? You have volatile memory, or you have volatile memory. Okay? Volatile memory is only accessible when the power is on. Okay? When the computer is on. And you have non-volatile memory, which is available at any time. Because of this, it's also called permanent memory or permanent storage. Okay, so the earliest form of memory that we had was punch cards. Okay, you had let me see if I don't think I have a picture of it. Okay, it's just a piece of thick paper, and it should have like holes. Okay, let me see if I can get a picture. Private window. Okay, this is a punch card. Okay, so you would cut out holes in the right places. Okay, I'm not sure how exactly it works. And then you would feed it into a computer. Okay, and then the computer would look at the holes and uh, do its thing, I guess. Okay, so your entire program wouldn't just be one card. You would have a whole stack of cards. Okay, a simple program could be much, much longer than a single paper. Okay, so those are punch cards. Then you had then you had magnetic storage. Okay, this one came out in 1932. Okay, storage, uh, magnetic storage. Uh, yeah, let me show you a picture of that as well. Actually, magnetic storage. Okay, uh, it's generally when we talk about magnetic storage nowadays, you would think of a hard disk drive. Okay, because this is also under the umbrella term magnetic storage. Okay, but this is the specific thing that we're talking about, magnetic tape. Okay, magnetic tape. So this would be storing data. Okay, then you had the magnetic core twister and bubble memory, and then vacuum tubes for RAM in 1948, semiconductor memory 1966. That's this one. Okay, and yeah, so this one is what is it called? Short term. Okay, now early non-volatile memory, early short-term memory long-term memory, permanent storage came in the forms of floppy disks. Okay, you had huge floppy disks, uh, and then they slowly got smaller and smaller. Okay, the nice thing about floppy disks was these were portable. Okay, they were portable. The not nice thing was they were very easily prone to failure. Okay, they would break down very easily. Okay, uh, nowadays you have uh, memory cards like this. Okay. Let's see. Other modern storage we have. the network accessible storage. Okay, this is when you have a large amount of storage in a separate area, okay, located remotely from wherever you are, okay, and you use the internet or the local area network to access it, okay. So you might have like servers and databases in a different building, in a separate area, and then you have your computer at home or in the office, and you log in there to access your files. Okay, so companies do this, some individuals do it for their own backups. Okay, and this is not to be confused with cloud storage. Cloud storage is specifically over the internet. Okay, so network accessible storage is local area network. Okay, it's within your own network, but cloud storage is over the internet. This is when you're paying Google and Amazon and whatnot. Okay. Okay. So when your physical components, your storage components get damaged, right? Whether it's your hard disk, whether it's your server or database, all those. Okay. When that physical damage causes data loss, okay, it's very hard to recover that data. It's not impossible, okay. Otherwise, the police agencies wouldn't be able to catch criminals when it comes to hard disks and all those. Okay, it's not impossible, but for an individual, it's probably very hard, very expensive. Okay, so instead of recovering from data loss, you should be preventing data loss. Okay, that's why you have backup systems. Don't rely on other people to back up your data for you, okay? Especially if you're sharing your computer with family or roommates or siblings, okay? Don't rely on them to be backing up your data for you. Do it by yourself, okay? And use the 3-2-1 backup strategy. I mentioned this in every module, I think, okay? The 3-2-1 backup strategy is you have three data copies, okay? Three copies of your data, okay? In two different media types. Okay, the first one is usually your permanent storage, right, in your laptop, in your computer, your just hard disk drive, right, or SSD. Okay, so that's your first media type, and then your second media type is uh, network accessible storage, another hard disk drive, maybe an SSD instead of an HDD, maybe it's cloud storage. Okay, just have two different media types. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, basically. And then your third copy is offsite. Okay, the second stored in a second site or on the cloud or storage unit or bank vault or car trunk, etc. Okay, make sure it's in a different physical location. Okay, that way, if the let's say you have two copies at your office, for example, and then the office gets flooded or the building catches fire, your offsite copy is still safe. Okay, three copies, two media types, one offsite. 3-2-1. Okay. Then coming to software. Okay, we're done with hardware. Very brief. This isn't a hardware module, so we won't focus on it. Coming to software, you have two main categories of software. Okay, first one you have system software. Okay, system software includes things like the operating system, your drivers, and your firmware. Okay, drivers. Okay, we've learned about operating system. Drivers are the things that allow your computer to communicate with outer devices, right? So like mouse, for example, okay? It doesn't come with your computer, you connect to your computer. The driver is what allows your mouse and computer to communicate with each other. Same thing with keyboards, same thing with printers, right? Printer driver as well, camera driver, mics. Firmware, on the other hand, is the software or the operating system technically that is in the external device itself. Okay, so how does the mouse know what happens when it moves around. Okay, what is it supposed to do? What signals is it supposed to send? That's the firmware's task. Okay, so the operating system is on the computer. The driver lets the computer communicate with the mouse, and then the mouse has the firmware to let it know what it's doing. Okay, before it even communicates with the computer, it needs to know what am I supposed to say to the computer, right? That's the firmware's task. So mouse has this, keyboard has this, printers have this. Okay, printers especially need firmware. Okay, oh, that's a shame. Okay, application software. Okay, we'll talk about, since we're talking about ethics, we'll talk about Duolingo soon. Okay, application software is the second type of software category. Okay, these are applications that you yourself directly use. Okay, these first three you don't really use. I mean, you technically use an operating system, but you communicate with your computer with other applications. Okay, so things like PowerPoint, Word, and Excel. Okay, just to brief demonstration, let's look at each of these. Okay, let's do PowerPoint first. Oh, sorry, guys. PowerPoint. Any questions so far? Okay, I'll assume that means no questions. Okay, so this is PowerPoint. Okay, I'm sure you're familiar with it. You have templates here. Uh, You can use a template or you can start a blank presentation. You have title, subtitle, you can add new slides, okay, add text there. You can add animations, uh, which is which affects the text within a slide. So if you have multiple points, animations will, let me see. Animations will make the text appear a certain way, right? So this way I'm doing it when I click, the next line appears. Okay. Transitions, on the other hand, is between slides. Okay. Between slides. The morph transition is very powerful. We had I think we did this last year, or was that a different class? I can't remember. Okay. But the morph transition is very powerful. Okay, well, in this case, it didn't really work, but yeah, you can experiment with these in your own time. Then when you want to submit your presentation, usually they ask for PDF version. Okay, they might ask for the PowerPoint version itself, but a lot of times you need to submit a PDF version of your presentation. To do that, you go to File, you go to Save As, okay, oh wait, no, you go to export, create PDF, and then save your file as a PDF. Okay, I'm going to do that. And that's PowerPoint. Okay, very brief. I assume you're familiar with it, so I'm just doing it for the sake of the lecture. Okay, next we're going to do Word. Okay, so PowerPoint is for presentations, Word is for text documents. Okay, if you, oh yeah, if you don't have this Microsoft Office suite, right? PowerPoint, Excel, Word, all these, you can use something called LibreOffice. Okay, LibreOffice is the open source version of uh, basically the Office suite. Okay, so it has things like LibreOffice Text, which is Microsoft Word. It has LibreOffice Calc, okay, Calculate, that's Excel. LibreOffice Impress, I think. is PowerPoint. LibreOffice Draw lets you edit PDFs, and then you have, I don't know what this one is called, but it's a database thing. Okay, so it's free. You can download it. It works just as well as as Microsoft Office. Okay, so this is okay. This one is Microsoft Word, right? Text editor, right? So this is what you'll be using to answer your assignment. Okay, and then up here we have LibreOffice. Okay, it might take some getting used to because it's open source. They don't really try to make it look user friendly, right? Like there's zero text. You have to hover over everything to see. Okay, uh, but generally it's the same thing. Okay, very similar at least. Okay, so that's Word, and finally we have Excel. And I'll show you the LibreOffice version. LibreOffice Go, yeah. Okay, so this one is Excel. Okay, Excel is used to store data, do some calculations. You can have like uh, student ID, student name, date of birth, uh, date joined, and so on. Okay, so you can have different things, and then you can do calculations. You can use formulas in here to do things. For example, I want to count how many students I have. So A2 to A12. Okay, this shows me I have 8 students. Okay, and then date of birth, for example, you can do who is the oldest student, and so on. Okay, it's supposed to be C. Okay, but this has its own module, so we're not really going to too much detail. Okay, so that's Excel, and then the LibreOffice version hasn't came up yet. LibreOffice Cup. Oh, okay, it's updating. Never mind. Okay, so we're not going to wait for that. Uh, are you guys familiar with Excel? Have you used Excel before? Yes? Okay, great. Then I won't spend too much time on it. Okay, but I do want to show you with the LibreOffice version. Do both of you have uh, Microsoft Office? Okay, Jake, you have. Bobby, do you have Microsoft Office? Yes. Okay, then I don't need to show the LibreOffice version. Let me just. I don't think I can cross this since it's updating. I just let it be in the background then. Okay, so that's hardware and software. Okay, now let's go on to the AI portion. Okay, so what is AI? Everyone talks about AI, artificial intelligence, right? Intelligence that's artificial, self-explanatory. But what exactly is it? Okay, artificial intelligence is technology. Just fun fact: tech means man-made. Okay, tech means man-made. So technology is the study of man-made objects. Okay, so technology that mimics human intelligence to perform tasks that can iteratively improve. Okay, iteratively means again and again. Okay, so it keeps improving based on information it collects. So it does something sees what it did wrong, what it did right, and tries it again and again until it's perfect. Okay. So it's also called the study of intelligent agents. Okay. Any system that can look at its surroundings and take action in that surrounding, such that it gets closer and closer to achieving its goal. That's artificial intelligence. Okay. Uh, yeah, let's take a look at this video. Let me just share my audio. Okay, let me know if you can't hear it, okay?
In the last decade, artificial intelligence has gone from a science fiction dream to a critical part of our everyday lives. We use AI systems to interact with our phones through Siri and Alexa. Cars like Teslas interpret and analyze their surroundings to intelligently drive themselves. Amazon monitors our browsing habits and intelligently serves us up products it thinks we'd like to buy. Even Google decides what kind of search results to give us based on who it thinks we are. Artificially intelligent algorithms are here, but this is only the beginning. Because in the future, AI is going to change everything. But do we want it to? Well, what exactly is artificial intelligence? Maybe a better question might be, what exactly is intelligence? The simplest descriptor is collecting data about the world and using that data to make predictions in the short and long term. That applies to both people and machines. So when we talk about AI in our lives, we're talking about everything, from a computer being able to read a handwritten document, like an OCR reader, to a robot performing complex surgery on its own, even to a massive database, categorizing your personality based on what you've written and looked at online. Because the world of AI is so incredibly large, let's take a look at some of the most groundbreaking developments we expect to see in the very near future, and whether that's a step forward or backward for society. First and foremost, AI systems are already primed to take over thousands, if not millions of jobs. Any job that consists of a human taking down information from other humans and inputting it into a system is likely to go obsolete. So cashiers, receptionists, telemarketers, and bank tellers are all on their way out. As self-driving cars, self-operating drones, and other conveyors from A to B get more complex, we'll also lose jobs like truck drivers, postal workers, courier services, even pizza delivery. Factories are also becoming fully automated. So are car washes and movie theaters. Even my job as a journalist is threatened by rapidly improving news algorithms that can gather information and deliver it faster and more accurately. But as society changes to accommodate an all-machine service world, it'll also open up new jobs for the next generation. Writing software, repairing and maintaining robots, and developing new and better systems. Most notably, machines are also primed to take over dangerous jobs. Firefighting, mining, deep-sea oil drilling, construction, and other careers with high mortality rates will be replaced by machines that can't get sick or hurt. We don't know what an all-AI workforce will look like yet, but many economists believe that the world might be a brighter and more rewarding place with machines taking over the more dull and hazardous jobs. As we develop better AI, we're discovering that it can not just replace human labor, but also think in ways that humans can't. Algorithms that can monitor and process massive amounts of information and make conclusions based on patterns in that data are poised to change every avenue of society. Starting from something small, like optimizing traffic patterns over time to figure out the best routes to take or how to fix roads and rebuild highways, all the way to something much more serious, like monitoring epidemics and disease and stopping them before they spread. Machine learning has even shown to analyze human behavior and predict warning signs by recognizing common language used by people like sexual predators or terrorists, and alerting law enforcement to take action. Then again, that same technology can be used to track down political dissidents, or serve fake news to vulnerable people while blocking out competing opinions and information. Just a few tech monopolies control the latest breakthroughs in data collecting, processing, and analyzing. And while we may hope that AI will help advance our society, it may just end up working to benefit the tech industry and only those who can afford to take advantage of cheaper, smarter human replacements. Maybe to the detriment of society. But for now, we just don't know what the future of AI holds.
Okay. So that's an introduction to AI. Doesn't seem very optimistic about it. Okay, unless you're in the IT field, uh, then yeah. Okay, people in the IT field don't really have much to worry about. People outside probably do. Okay, I think that's the most positive you can make it for yourself. Okay, so that video was from 6 years ago, which was 2019. And LLMs and ChatGPT hadn't even popped off yet, right? So since then, when people think of AI, they think of ChatGPT, right? Which isn't the only type of AI. Okay, ChatGPT is an LLM, okay, a large language model where it has read through the internet, scraped everything, and learned a lot of it unethically, actually. Okay, we're talking about ethics. A lot of what ChatGPT has learned, it has done so without permission. Okay, OpenAI gave it access to a lot of pirated books, pirated websites. It has went through so much media, a lot of it without paying anyone, right? Later we'll go into AI art as well and the ethics of that. Okay. Yeah. So most people, when they think of AI, they think of ChatGPT, right? Large language models, AI that recognize and generate text. Okay. One thing to keep in mind: a large language model doesn't know what it's saying. Okay, so for example, to the side here, I've asked for flavored cheesecake recipe, right? It has given me a flavored cheesecake recipe. This might work, right? Or it might be just gibberish, okay? Of course, now AI is improving, so it's more likely to work than not work, okay? But when ChatGPT was giving me this reply, okay, it gives me word by word, right? It first says title, then savory fish. Oh my, fish flavored cheesecake. Okay, I asked for fish flavored. Okay, uh, I do not want to try this. Okay, fish flavored cheesecake. Okay, sounds disgusting, but AI doesn't know what this means. Okay, when it says fish flavored cheesecake, it doesn't know what it's saying. It's just copying what I said. Okay, I asked for a fish flavored cheesecake, so it gave me fish flavored cheesecake. Okay, ingredients, I don't think anyone has written it. Maybe they have a recipe for fish flavored cheesecake, but the large language model guesses what word is supposed to come next. Okay, when I say ingredients, the first thing I have to say next is an amount. Okay, an amount of what? Let's say smoked salmon. Okay, what's the description of the smoked salmon? Finely chopped. And it's just guessing what you're supposed to say next. Okay, it's like when I say hi, how are you to you. Okay, sorry, I think my Zoom just refreshed. Can you guys still hear me and see me? Okay. So the way large language model works is just by guessing. Okay. When someone asks you, when a stranger asks you, hi, how are you? Right? Can you guys still see me? My Zoom keeps disappearing. Okay. Right. Okay, I'll just ignore the Zoom disappearing and reappearing. Okay, hopefully everything is okay. When the stranger asks you, how are you? You're not expected to just dump all your problems onto the stranger, right? You have cues on what to say, right? You, when a stranger asks you, hi, how are you? You guess, okay, he's not, okay, I'm supposed to say, I'm doing good. thank you, right? For a large language model, it doesn't know what that means. It just saw so many people online doing that that it guesses that's going to be the next thing to say. Okay. Uh, Another example of this is if you ask ChatGPT to give you a PDF document, okay, or you ask it some questions and it might ask you at the end, do you want me to generate a downloadable file or do you want me to generate a PowerPoint slideshow for you? If you say yes to that, it's not going to give you that file. Okay, it's assuming that that's what someone would say, right? If you email your colleague, for example, ask for something, they might end the email by asking, do you want me to send it to you, right? So ChatGPT has seen such emails and it guesses that that's what it's supposed to end with, but it can't really generate a downloadable file for you. Okay, if you ask it to get back to you in 1 week, it's not going to get back to you in 1 week. It will say, okay, because that's what you're supposed to say, but it won't actually send you a message saying that your file is ready or anything. Okay. Uh, right. So ChatGPT is a large language model that's also a generative AI. Okay. Things like ChatGPT, Gemini, DeepSeek as well. Those are all generative AI. Okay, Suno AI is AI that's used for generating audio. Okay, it's used for songs. Okay, AI generated songs. That's quite good. It's quite fun. Okay, you have character.ai where you chat with specific characters, whether they're real life or movie characters, they have the same personality. Okay, there are dangers of this where in October last year there was someone who let me just show you. I don't know how to spell it, but if you go to the news, there, okay, because it supposedly encouraged someone to uh, do something. Okay, so with vulnerable, certain uses of AI attract a certain type of audience who are vulnerable, and whether it means to or not, it does take advantage of them. Okay. Then you have Devin. Okay. I don't think this ended up coming out. Devin is an AI for coding. Okay. Helps you write code. But I think they hyped it up, but I don't think it really met expectations. Okay. You have DALL-E. Okay. Don't really hear much about this one anymore, right? For image generation. Okay. Runway ML is just a collection of a lot of AI tools, Synthesia as well. Okay. Audio. Okay. Let's see, I have some notes here. Oh yeah, okay. Speaking of image generation, okay, that is one of the biggest talking points of AI, right? Using AI for image generation, even ChatGPT, okay? A lot of people's work was used to train these AI, okay? And now the AI can make similar work for free, right? For example, the Studio Ghibli filter recently, right? That's an AI filter that mimics Studio Ghibli's art style, but Studio Ghibli earns money through that art style. All those animators earn money through that art style, right? So all their hard work is going to waste. Right now, anyone can redraw themselves as Studio Ghibli, and since you can generate videos with AI, you can technically, theoretically, make a whole Ghibli movie, right? You have ChatGPT to generate the script. You have Suno.ai and all these AI voice generators to generate the audio clips, and you have video generators to generate the video itself using Ghibli AI, Ghibli art style or whatever. Okay, so there's the issue of the intellectual property, right? Where artists get paid for their work. Okay, And then there's also the issue of you basically putting artists out of a job, right? That's how they make their living, and you're basically making them obsolete. Of course, they'll never be obsolete. There's a clear difference between, at least for now, between AI generated art and human drawn art, but it's getting closer and closer. There's the saying of well, it's not a saying, but it's a meme. You see less and less AI generated images. Okay, this meme. Have you seen this? Okay, basically means that first you think that the AI art is decreasing, right? AI generated images are decreasing on the internet. That's not true. Okay, it just means that they're becoming more and more convincing to the point that you can't tell. Okay, it's getting more and more convincing to the point that you can't tell what's AI generated, what isn't. Okay, and it's true. Okay, people are falling for videos that are AI generated. You have to look at the background to notice things. You have to look at minute details, the hair blending into the clothes, and it's only a split frame. Okay, so if you're watching the video normally, you wouldn't even realize that it's AI generated. Okay, I've came across a few of those. Okay, but it's not all bad, right? We can use AI in transportation, okay, for self-driving autonomous or driverless cars. Tesla is leading in this right now, okay? Use a combination of sensors, cameras, radar, and AI to travel between destinations. It can do self-parking, okay? Problem with this was a lot of people, when the Tesla autopilot first came out, people were sleeping while driving, okay? Assist in improving traffic management systems. Okay, there's a video by okay, road planning, public transportation. Okay, this one, predicting traffic conditions. Okay, there's a video by I think CGP Gray that explains what a world full of AI cars is going to look like. So because they're using AI, they can communicate with each other, all the cars on the road. So right now, one of the reasons that traffic starts is because someone on the road will suddenly slow down and then speed up again. Okay. And then the person behind that person slows down in reaction and speeds up again. But because everyone has a certain amount of reaction time, this slowing down becomes longer and longer. Okay. And eventually it creates traffic basically, even though there's nothing stopping people. Okay. With AI cars, they'll be able to brake and accelerate at the same time, so it doesn't really create traffic. Okay, you'll need to look at the video to fully understand uh, what I'm saying. Let me just show you what the video title is. We're not going to look at it.
Stuck at an intersection, you always
I believe this is the one. Yes. Okay, I think this is the one. Okay, simple solution to traffic. It also explains how uh, traffic without accidents starts. Okay, manufacturing. Okay, creating and assembling products into finished products on a large scale. Manufacturing is around 16% of the global economy. Okay, or at least it was in 2019. Okay, already we're using machinery in manufacturing. Okay, but it can become even more efficient if it's operated by AI. Okay, assembly line efficiency using data analytics. So the operation doesn't need to be done by AI, okay? It's already programmed to be efficient, okay? But AI can help with the data analytics, okay? It can optimize the delivery, it can predict when the machinery needs to do maintenance and so on, okay? Early alert on quality issues. Oh yeah, that as well. Okay. Healthcare. very important use for AI, okay? Gives you medical information, logistics, support and training of personnel. Well, I wouldn't really trust AI, at least at this stage, to train people, but yes, that's a future use of it, okay? Predictive medicine. Uh, with AI, you can have, I don't know if I have it in this slides or in a different lesson, but with AI, eventually you'll have medication that's specific to each person, right? It takes into account all their health problems and it deals with all of them. Maybe not deal with everything in one pill, but the medicine takes into account all other health complications that you'll have. So you don't need mass production of medicine. You have individual uh, or specialized medicine for each person. Okay, that can be done with AI. It can help with research, digest huge amounts of data, show association between different subject features. You can also use it to to summarize articles for you if you don't want to uh, read the whole thing. But in healthcare, that's probably a risky thing to do. Okay, finance and banking, it can help with risk assessment. Okay, because it can process large amounts of data, it can calculate and examine that data and give you a faster analysis than a human would, right? It would save you time because it's faster. It would save you cost because you're not hiring someone. Problem is that's another job that's at risk, right? Because you're not hiring someone. Fraud detection and assessment, it looks at spending patterns and sees if this is something that a person would normally be doing. Okay, and then flag it if it's suspicious. Okay, predict future market conditions. Problem is, no one can predict the future market condition. Okay, the past couple of months have proven that it's very unpredictable, right? With all the tariffs going on. Okay, um, it can help with human resources. Okay, uh, companies have already started doing this, right? Using AI in their hiring process. Amazon has done it. Okay, oh, give me a second. So a lot of companies have already started using AI in their hiring process. It's mainly to filter out the CVs, right? As if it wasn't already hard enough to get your CV to be looked at. Now they're using AI to filter out bad CVs from good CVs, okay? Uh, and deciding who to hire, okay? Now, Amazon did this and it led to quite a few problems actually, okay? Uh, Let's see how many slides do we have. Okay, we have time to watch the video. Okay. So okay, yeah, I think the video will illustrate it better. Okay, it's not really okay. So Amazon had started using an AI recruitment system, okay, to hire people. Okay. Problem is because AI is trained on whatever is on the internet, okay, it developed a certain inclination. Okay, uh, it would use gender. Okay, it would use the gender of the applicant to determine whether they were worth recruiting or not. And a lot of times, no matter how hard Amazon tried, it would keep uh, discriminating against female applicants. Okay, because it associated the gender with job performance. Okay, it associated the gender with job performance. If it was a woman, it would assume that uh, they won't be a top performing employee. Okay, and Amazon tried a few fixes for this, but they ended up just shutting the whole thing down. Okay, uh, it would also it was also biased. This one specifically wasn't with Amazon, but it can be biased due to past hiring practices. Okay, because in the past, uh, it would only be men who were hired, right? Of course, this was several decades ago, but that history does affect how the AI is trained, right? If it looks at past records and it sees it was mostly male employees or Caucasian employees, then that's what it's going to think is the best thing to do. Okay, that's one of the reasons why it used gender as a deciding factor, right? Because of biased indicators. Okay, women didn't used to get hired, so we're not going to hire women. Certain jobs until now don't have women being hired. Of course, there are like labor intensive jobs, maybe. Okay, that's a different topic, but office jobs, even managerial roles, okay, tend to be quite discriminative against women. And I will look at that, see that there's not much history of female employees in that position, probably because, according to the AI, probably because they don't perform well. So I should be looking for male employees, right? That's the thought process that leads to biased decisions. Okay, doesn't align with modern legal system and social norms. Okay, uh, so when it comes to AI and human resources, probably at least for now, not a good idea to use it to hire people. Maybe for employee development and training, even that it might take some time to get it up to speed. But administrative tasks, yes. Okay, human resources, uh, AI can help in human resources in that aspect. Okay, agriculture. Pest management, disease management, monitoring and storage control, irrigation management, and everything. Okay, all you need to do is develop it, right? It has many applications. All it needs is development. Okay, uh, if implemented properly, it can increase efficiency as it has done with all the previous industries we talked about and reduce costs. Okay, of course, this is the ideal version. Okay, we'll talk about the ethics part of it in the future. Okay, AI can be used in education, okay, to develop curriculums, to create a course plan. Okay, if you develop it on an even larger scale, it can have a personalized learning approach for each student, right? Recognize their weaknesses, target those weaknesses to improve their learning. Okay, uh, accurate grading systems, automated feedback, and so on. Okay. Uh, Okay, this one is being used a lot already, right? Websites have chatbots, which are now AI to answer your questions. Okay, uh, it does make work easier. Problem is, a lot of times I've used chatbots on websites. It doesn't really answer my questions because it has fixed answers, right? I Every time I'm going to a chatbot, I'm going so that I can talk to a human, but it's never a human, it's always AI, right? So I end up having to call the people. Okay, visual search, display products based on browser history. Okay, uh, recommendation algorithms is another huge way that AI is being used, right? Going from e-commerce to videos to reels to TikToks, everything that you watch has a role for AI. Okay, this one is, of course, Siri, Alexa, and all those. They have AI now. Um, yeah. Okay. So I have for the references for this lesson. Okay, especially for the AI parts. Okay, I have listed a ton of journal articles here. Okay, they're not very long, they're short, but there's one for each industry. Okay, there's one for agriculture, there's one for transportation, there's one for banking. Okay, each of these has a journal article. If you can, if you're interested, please take a look. Okay, the if it's a paid copy, they still have like a free sample that you can read through. Even the free samples have a lot of uh, great information. Okay, so do take a look at the references. Okay, because I had to rush for time to cover everything. We didn't really get to go in detail for each industry. Okay, so they go into much more detail, They explain why it's good, why it's bad, and everything. So do take a look. Okay. Any questions? If there are no questions, we're going to end the lesson here, and I'll see you guys on Friday for assessment criteria 1.3. Okay, we're going to look at requirement specification. Okay, thank you everyone for coming, and I'll see you guys on Friday. Have a good night. Which assignment is this? The previous module? Let's see, level 4. It's due May 31st. Okay, well, at least that's what it says here. Just a reminder, when it say May 31st, it means midnight, May 31st. So on May 30th at night, you should submit your assignment. Okay? Don't wait until the next day. Don't submit it on the due date. You had last week to so after we complete a module, you have that 1 week. Ideally, that's when you do your assignment. Uh, so that you don't rush it while having more classes. Okay, so yeah, 2 tasks, 1,000 words each. Okay, I've structured the lessons to cover the each assessment criteria, so you can refer to those. Of course, don't copy paste. Okay, but make sure you submit it on May 30th. Okay, May 30th is your last day to submit. If you submit on May 31st, it's going to be considered a late submission. Okay, yeah. Okay, any other questions? Oh, Bowie's gone. Okay, so thank you for coming and have a good night. Bye, Jake.